Okay, let's get started. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to present this information to you. This was something about that a lot of you had asked for, and so I'm glad that we're getting to have this session together. First slide, Madeline, thank you. For the next one, yeah. So I just want to get started, just as a reminder, a little bit of how we do things at OFMA workshops. Just want to say, feel comfortable, eat, stretch, move. Any stuff that's going on in the background is fine. We love seeing your face, but being off camera is fine too, whatever's most comfortable for you. And we love the chat. Please use the chat, give affirmations, share ideas, submit questions. We are going to have a big Q&A time after the panel, but you're welcome to put questions in the chat as we go so that we don't lose track of them. Also, this workshop is being recorded and we will post it on OFMA's website. We actually had a lot of people sign up for this, but perhaps the timing is not so good, so we think people will be watching the recording later. And don't forget, this is your community. These are all people you interact with on a regular basis. Like, lead with kindness and respect, listen, share your thoughts and ideas, but also be sure to leave time for others to share as well. Now we can get into what the agenda will be. So first, we're going to go through some panel presentations from our guests from Care Oregon and Income Healthcare. When they're done, we'll have a Q&A session where you can ask all your questions. And then we'll also have a chance to do a little peer exchange among you guys so that you guys can talk about what you've learned and what you're thinking about these cards and how you plan to implement or not implement using these at your market. And also just wanted to get into a little bit of what the expectations are for today. So wanting to let you know, we will hopefully increase understanding of OTC and healthy foods cards and show you who to contact for info and where to get more help. Today, we might help you be able to make a decision about whether or not to accept these cards at your market. But we're thinking, we're pretty new to all of this. Oregon is actually, what I've learned from our panel guests, is Oregon's actually pretty new in the country as far as like getting on top of this and wanting to use these cards at our market. And so we might not be able to give you all the answers because we're like at the leading edge of this. So some questions may require follow-up beyond the workshop. Let's see. So I think we're done with the slides now. And we'll start with hearing from, let's see, let me pull it up. Yeah. So we're going to start with hearing from Jenna Corbley first. She's the director of Medicare at Care Oregon, and they have the Care Card, which is the main card that we'll be hearing about, although there are others. Jenna, would you like to get started? And are you able to share your screen and bring up your slides that you wanted to show?
Yes, definitely. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, hello, everybody. I am Jenna Corbley. I'm the Director of Medicare for Care Oregon Advantage. So we'll go through that a bit. So I'm not sure if anybody has been physically presented with our card. So when we're saying OTC/healthy foods cards, or I'm referring to the Care Card, they are one and the same thing. Our company's product is called the Care Card, and we have a section of the card that has funds on it called the OTC/healthy foods wallet. So there's funds dedicated on it specifically for those types of things. And I'll get into that here too. So I wanted to just call that out so that people aren't confused, but we think it's very pretty. And we've highlighted such healthy foods that you might even have in your markets here with the pretty raspberries. So Care Oregon Advantage is a Medicare Advantage health insurance program for members that are full benefit dual eligible in both Oregon Medicaid and Medicare. Through both Medicaid and Medicare, our members have healthcare coverage to things like physical healthcare, dental care, behavioral health, medical transportation, etc. And being a Medicare Advantage plan, we can also offer our members supplemental Medicare benefits that not every Medicare plan is able to offer. So some examples of our supplemental benefits are things like a gym membership, in-home support services, virtual urgent care, and our most popular benefit is the Care Oregon Advantage Care Card. So our members are all below the federal poverty line, which is a qualification for Medicaid, and they're either 65 years or older and or are disabled. So those are the qualifications for the federal program of Medicare, or they're all three of those things. So being dual eligible means that both of our members need to have both Medicaid and Medicare. So they're both poor and or old and or disabled. So proper nutrition and getting good healthy foods is really crucial to their longevity and their being. Our Medicare arm is called Care Oregon. So just Care Oregon proper is just our Medicaid program. So that operates in Multnomah, Washington, Clackamas, Columbia, Clatsop, Tillamook, and Jackson counties. Whereas our Medicare program, Care Oregon Advantage, which we're talking about here today, and which runs the Care Card, operates in all of those counties except for Clatsop County. So out Seaside, the coast area. But all the other counties, the Portland metro area, Columbia County, Tillamook, and Jackson County are fair game. But the good news is that the Care Card can be used in any county in Oregon, and it can even be used nationally. So our members just need to be residing in, have a mailing address as declared to Medicaid in one of those counties. So right now we have about 17,000 members, and the vast majority of them are in the Portland metro area. Columbia County has about 600 members. Jackson County has about 2,000 members, and Tillamook County has about 500 members. So there's over 13,000 of our members in either Multnomah, Washington, or Clackamas County. So here's that pretty raspberry Care Card again. So again, the name is unique to us, to our program, but the product is not. So Incom is national, and they have this, this product, this service here elsewhere in Oregon and in other states across the nation. For us, we did used to call it, even as recently as 2022, the OTC Plus card. So you'll probably still hear people refer to it as that. Our own staff still refer to it as that. It's the same thing. It's just the new branding of it is called the Care Card. So same thing. The card has three separate wallets of money on one card. So it's got three separate functions that it has on it. So the main wallet on it is for the OTC/healthy foods cards. And so we actually supply our members each quarter with a fresh batch of $395, and they can spend this money on either or a combination of healthy foods or over-the-counter items. There's another wallet on there where we give rewards or incentives to our members for doing qualifying healthy activities that we put forth. Like, hey, if you get a flu shot, we want to give you $25. If your doctor recommends it and you go forward with it and you get a colorectal cancer screening, we're going to give you $50. We add those funds onto a separate wallet of the Care Card too, called the incentives wallet. And they can actually spend those funds on the exact same thing as the Healthy Foods OTC wallet. So they have more money to spend on healthy foods or over-the-counter items. And then the one that's most different is a separate wallet that's for supplemental dental benefits. So for things that their Medicaid health insurance will not cover for dental care, they get $1,500 a year for excess in dental care that they can spend that on. So all of those three functions are on one physical card. So the catalog is what's telling the wallets for both the incentives wallet and the OTC/healthy foods wallet of what's approved for the card to spend its money on. So what will have a transaction go through. So there are some similarities to the SNAP program, which I know you're familiar with. So our members are not permitted to buy things with it like alcohol, tobacco, firearms with our care card. But this program is run through CMS and through Income, and we have the catalog, which is going to offer more than what SNAP card is limited to. The counter items, like medication, are not going to be able to bought with the SNAP card, but they can be purchased with our care card. So we won't be able to limit our offerings at the farmers markets to just match what the SNAP cards can offer. Since we're contracted with CMS, we have to continue to be able to offer that for anywhere. It's what we've promised CMS will be able to offer in the catalog that we have. Amanda can probably help you share the catalog out specifically of what those specific types of groupings are. But I'm giving you here kind of a snapshot of mostly what the healthy foods are. That's going to be most pertinent to what you're caring about. But some of the over-the-counter items can be things that you're thinking of, like deodorants and lotions and diabetic test strips, nutritional supplements, that kind of stuff. Those are all approved. They can also buy household products too. So that might be something. So if you have stands like for artisan soaps or things like that, those should be able to go through. Those are all approved. The healthy foods, so categories that they're approving on our catalog are fruits and veggies, meats, seafood, juices, prepared foods, which I think is also different from the SNAP card. So the like heat and eat things would be approved. Crackers, yogurt, nut milks, soy and soy milks, dairy products, egg and egg substitutes, plant-based meat, plant-based cheese, condiments, jerky, bread, rolls, tortillas, herbs and spices, dry pasta, dry beans, coffee and tea, both dry or liquid, nuts, seeds, and quote, salty snacks. Excluded things, so what the care card will not have a successful transaction run through because they're not approved, that are likely to be seen at the market are going to be things like cookies, desserts, sweets, muffins. So muffins can sometimes, I think, go either way in people's minds of healthy, not healthy. It's excluded from our healthy foods list. Ice cream, frozen yogurts, soda, energy drinks, and lard. So those are kind of the general categories there. So we thought you might be kind of interested in how our members get communicated to about the care card. They love it, they live it. It's our most popular benefit. Often the community even signs up for our plan because of the care card, I think, because it's such a robust benefit. That healthy foods benefit is not pervasive at every health plan. So members can actually join our plan anytime that they're eligible and have an election period where they're able to sign up for a new plan. But the most popular plan where members are choosing new health plans is from Medicare. And that's the Medicare annual election period, which is coming up here just around the corner. So that is, we call it AEP. So that's October 15th through December 7th of every year. And they're making selections for their Medicare plan to be effective the following January. So this go around, they're choosing what plan they want to have in January 2024. Prior to January 1 enrollment, our members receive a welcome plan packet, which includes lots of information about our care card. We kind of advertise it in pretty much everything. So we've got some guides for our members to try and make just becoming a member easy. And so we have something literally called the Care Oregon Advantage Easy Guide that talks about it quite a lot. And then we even have a care card benefit guide, which talks through the network, kind of like I was showing you there too, groupings of types of items they can buy with their card. Shows them the My Benefit Center .com, which they're able to access to see specifically which stores are in the network and see what types of items in particular they can use, that type of thing. So the care card itself and corresponding mailer directing the members on how to activate their card and be able to check their balances and look at previous transactions, that typically arrives about 2 weeks after a member enrolls with us. And then they also get quarterly newsletters, benefits highlight sheets, lots of other documents, and our website talks about it a lot as well. So communications about the farmers markets. So right now, literally right now, my team is, we're creating our materials for AEP. So to get ready for that October timeframe, we have to have everything set and out to the printers, and a lot of our materials even have to be in members' hands by September 30th. So we're creating materials now. We can also do ad hoc documents too throughout the year, but this is when we're going to have the most eyes seeing things. So you can even check out us on our website there too. So we're hoping to give as much information as we can so that farmers markets can make a decision to opt in, so that we can include new benefit. New farmers markets are on the care card, new place to shop and spend your healthy foods money at the farmers markets now, because we'd love to have you in our retail network, because the time is now that we're able to reach the biggest audience to alert them to that. Here's just some quick, it's teeny tiny, sorry about that. But this is kind of 4 pages in one glance of what like our easy guide looks like. It's kind of like Candyland when our members get it. There's like a little path that guides our member through becoming a member and steps that they take. And it highlights the care card there. And then information too about their benefits packet, where we highlight the care card as kind of #1 benefit, really. And then just kind of a little glimpse too of the quarterly update, where we talk about the care card too, and we remind members about catered to them in particular, so it's personalized information, rewards that they're still eligible for that they haven't done for this year yet, to get those rewards monies added on to their care card so they can spend even more money. So that's my little presentation there.
Thank you, Jenna.
Yeah.
I think we'll introduce Shana now. And Shana's from Income Healthcare. They are the ones that, while Jenna's organization like offers the card and works with the people who are using the card, Shana's is more like the processor behind the card, and how the money moves around and things like that. So Shana, are you ready to go? Do you have slides that you want to share too?
Yes, I do. And that was said beautifully. Amanda, thank you. Yeah, we are the processor of the care card that Jenna just walked us through. So I'll go ahead and share my screen.
And maybe I can also say that, and then the other name for you guys to note is that you're familiar with is Total Pay, and they are the ones that put the card on to your point of sale. So yeah, there's kind of like three organizations, agencies sort of that are like involved in these cards.
Yes, yes. Income partners with retailers, and we integrate with point of sales and provide our own standalone terminal device so that retailers can accept the cards like the care card Jenna just showed and presented to you guys. So can you see my screen? Yes. Awesome. Okay, I'll get started. I'm Shana Tobin. I work at Income Payments, and I'm in the income healthcare sector of Income Payments. We do a lot of, gift cards and things like that, but the healthcare space is something that Income has recently dived into, partnering with health plans like Care Oregon to provide these benefit cards that can be used at retailers throughout the nation for specific adjudicated items. So I'll go ahead and get started. So just a high level overview, OTC network is new revenue that you as a retailer or a farmer's market in this case can tap into. We have recently gotten into the healthy food space, and this allows health plan members to use their benefit dollars to purchase eligible food products such as fruits, vegetables, eggs, milk, and more. This is powered by our OTC network, and it allows farmers markets like you to accept these preloaded, pre-funded cards that can be used for healthy food items. And some of those items Jenna walked through that specifically Care Oregon is eligible for. So we have 100,000 members in Oregon. That benefit amount that is put onto their card can range from $25 to $500. As Jenna mentioned, theirs is quarterly with that $395 specifically for Care Oregon. Our projected spend amounts in the state of Oregon is going to be 32.5. And we got this data based off the spend that has been done up to this point in the state of Oregon. So this is a whole new revenue that you guys can tap into if you decide to opt in and join our network as a retail partner. This is just an overview of what our products look like. And I do want to very much mention that little blue and orange bug there at the bottom of those cards for Care Oregon. Since they have that dual network card, it's on the back of the card and it's actually in black and white. But all of our cards have that OTC network or healthy foods bug on it, and it looks like that blue and orange, or it's, you know, black and white on the if it's on the back of the card. But that's how you identify that it's an OTC network card when a member walks up to, you know, your counter or your store, whatever. We have, you know, our two cards here. We have our Medicare card that can be used for over-the-counter items like pain relief items, diabetes, first aid, dental health, deodorant was mentioned. There's over 200,000 plus eligible OTC items in our Medicare catalogs. That's always changing. We're always trying to keep up with what's out there in the market. We're always working with our retailers to make sure we can give our members the ability to buy absolutely everything they can with their benefit. And then we have our healthy foods card, which can be used for things like dairy, produce, nutrition, supplements, even energy drinks. I know that's surprising, but that does fall under there. And we have over 150,000 eligible food items. And like I said, that's always growing, that's always changing. We do have our cards that have both benefits, like the Care Oregon card that has the Medicare and the healthy foods benefit. So we are able to put that all onto one card with separate wallets that are used for those specific items. And we do that in the background. You guys don't have to know about the benefit on the card at all. It's done in a very quick split second in the transaction. We adjudicate those items and take the funds off of the associated wallet that they're supposed to be taken off of. So you guys don't have to know any of that. We know all of that. We're doing that with our technology and our card. So that's a benefit to you guys. The average amount of spend that we see that the members are out there doing per transaction is $50. And then based off of the transaction fees we take off, we would owe back the sorry, this is blocking my mute, the $47.75. So that's a pretty good amount. And you know, our members, when they're coming to your farmers markets or a store, they're typically not just going there to get their OTC benefit. They're doing their, you know, grocery run for the day, or they're going to the farmers market. They're going to not just buy, you know, their fruits and vegetables. They may also buy the local candle that's there, or the local, you know, wine that someone bought that may not be eligible on their card, but they still saw it, they're still there, right? So we see not just our cards being used, we see spend for, you know, items that are not eligible as well. And we're able to get a lot of that data through our standalone devices that we provide. These are all just a few of our health plan clients that we have out there. We have a lot. As you can see, Care Oregon is on there. We do have more than just Care Oregon in the state of Oregon. And I can talk through those at the end of this. I have that on a separate sheet, but this is just an overview of some of our key health plan clients that we have out there. And we're always trying to grow our network and bring in more health plan partners so that, you know, we can have our cards, our OTC cards out there. So how it works, and this is going to be a little different for a farmer's market location than our typical storefront. And I've kind of gotten this based off conversations I've had with OFMA and, you know, some other farmers markets across the nation. We do see our members for specifically the OTC benefit, you know, going up and using their card first. I know a lot of the farmers markets that have done programs like EBT and SNAP, they use a token method. It's okay if you don't use this method. If you have another way of doing it, we're totally open to talking that through as well. But we do see this as a good way of making sure the benefit is used where it's supposed to be used inside of the farmer's market and avoid it not being used for things that it's not supposed to be used for. So we do see our members going to the counter, you know, swiping that OTC card, whether that's a total pay device or our device, you guys providing those tokens with whatever token method you guys do, whether it's $1 a token, $5 a token, that's up to you guys. And then they're able to walk around and use that throughout the, you know, the vendors that are there. And then at the end of the day, you know, they're able to use those tokens, and they may get some other items that they would pay for at the end if they weren't able to use their benefit for them, right? But as this states, when the card is swiped, it does that adjudication right then and there. Farmers markets, since there's different vendors all the time, depending on the season and whatnot, there's no way for us to sort of do our typical, you know, scan the UPC and it tells you whether it's eligible or not. It's not going to be that. For our farmers markets, it sends over the one UPC for everything. So that's why we really leave it up to you guys to make sure that our benefit is used for the correct vendors and not abused out there. Right. So if you guys have any questions of how we can work that through, I'm open to a conversation, or any questions at the end of this. I've talked to, you know, Amanda a lot about how some of you guys do this, and it seems like the token method is a really good way of making sure that that is done in that way. But our device, typically, if you're at a storefront, for example, just to give you an idea of how it works at a normal store, a UPC is scanned right then and there, and our standalone devices, for example, will tell you whether or not that item is eligible right then and there. If it's eligible, great, they'll continue to do the checkout process. If not, they put it to the side. They use a separate form of tender for that. And then, you know, the funds come off the card instantly, and then we reimburse the retailer for those funds on whatever we're contracted with them to do that, whether that's net 7 or net 14. So that's how it works in a regular storefront. But farmers markets will look a little bit different. And I see kind of what has been done with the EBT and SNAP program, also that practice used for our OTC program as well. Our total pay integration. So I know a lot of you guys have the total pay devices. We did an integration with total pay and their devices back in 2021. And this gives them connectivity into our network. It gives the device that they have, when you swipe that card, it knows it's an OTC card, sends the transaction to us, and we do all the work in the back there. And as I mentioned, it sends over that one UPC for everything. When a member comes up and they show they have that OTC card, it'll be very similar to if you guys do have that EBD and SNAP. It's a little button on the device that says OTC. You guys would just click that and to do the transaction instead of, say, a credit card payment or a cash payment. That single UPC code is sent to us, and that is due to the fact that, you know, there's always different vendors, you know, weekly or monthly, whatever that looks like, depending on what you guys do at your farmers markets. This solution that we've done with Total Pay has really brought in the capability for our members to go to farmers markets across the country and use their OTC card, which we think would be a huge benefit to our members. We know that's something they would love and the health plans are excited about, which is why we are here today. Income will reimburse Total Pay for all of our OTC transactions. And then Total Pay will send you guys that reimbursement minus our 2% processing fees. Based off the information that you guys have already got with Total Pay, if you have any questions regarding, you know, bank account information or anything like that that you have set up with Total Pay, please reach out to the reps that you have with Total Pay. If you guys ever have any issues with that, you know, feel free to reach out to Amanda, who can loop in income specifically for OTC side questions. And we'd be happy to make sure those get answered or work with the Total Pay team to make sure you guys are satisfied with how this is going to work, or, you know, make sure everything is up to date and your questions are answered. If you do not have the Total Pay device, we do have the capability of sending you our standalone terminal device. And this is, it looks like this, as I pictured here. So it would be separate from the point of sale, that device that you guys have now. And when a member walks up and shows their OTC card, you would know to take out this device to process that payment. this is $0. We're doing a big, grocery push due to our healthy foods programs out there. We really want to bring on more grocery retailers or farmers markets like you guys into our network so our members can use that healthy food benefit. So we would not charge you for that device. So there is no upfront cost, and our processing fees for those are 1.7% per transaction. And this is applied to the total amount of that transaction. And this is a little different. So, you guys would still have that one UPC that you would send to us, and that would be on the front of the device at the very top. So you guys wouldn't have to search anything in there, but you would just, press that UPC, enter the total amount, swipe that card, and we would, take the funds off the card, and they could go on and use, if you guys do the token system or however, they could go on throughout the farmers market and pay for those items via token. So if you have any questions regarding this, feel free to reach out to me or work with Amanda. I'll answer any questions, but this is another way for you guys to accept OTC if you don't have total pay. Our devices are out there. We have, close to 4,000 retailers right now that are using our standalone terminal devices because we're not able to integrate with them, and everyone is very satisfied. We do have a lot of, great reporting with these devices. We have a web portal. If you guys didn't want an actual device and say you use like an iPad at your farmers market location, we do have the capability of you guys being able to just go on a web application. So if you didn't want, another device that you have to have on your counter, this is another option that you guys could have. And we also have a web portal that you guys are able to pull reporting with all of the different transactions that were done at your store during the day, monthly, whatever date range you would like. You can see all of the funds that were taken off via OTC transactions. Our standalone terminal devices are on a net 14 reimbursement billing schedule. So daily you would receive a report from the following day's transactions, and then 14 days later we would provide you guys with an ACH funds into your account. So I can provide, what I'll do is I'll provide Amanda with like kind of a one-pager of what this all looks like, so you guys can have a, a better idea. If you don't have total pay and you wanted this kind of solution, this is an option for you guys as well. What we also do provide with our standalone terminal devices is, of course, training materials. We have a whole training guide that comes along with that. We have training videos that are in the guide. We also have signage kits that we send out that can include posters. We can pretty much provide whatever it is you guys would like. I know the farmers market setup is a little different, so maybe, little one-pager posters that can go around, or say, OTC is accepted at this vendor or that vendor, whatever it is. We're open to working with you guys to figure out what that looks like and how we can make sure our members know that OTC can be accepted at your farmers markets. And that is all as it pertains to income and our OTC card. So I'll give it back to you, Amanda, and I'm sure we have plenty of questions that we can work through.
Yes, thanks, Shana. We do have some questions that have come up in the chat. I'll just, let's see. Hillsdale, do you want to come off mute and voice your questions, or I can read them for you if you want me to?
Hi. It's us. We have a couple of questions. So our first question is, Jenna made it really clear and obvious that the Care Oregon card is just for low-income people plus people who are either senior or disabled. It seems like the other OTC cards are open to anybody who's in those networks. Is that true? So we could be seeing these OTC cards coming from multiple populations?
Sadie, you might be able to answer this a little more, but it's across the board pretty much the same for all of our plans with that demographic.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is ultimately up to the health plans. We do have some Medicaid health plans, and some people that might even want to use cards for like internal incentives. So it could vary, but it does depend on who's actually administrating that card, kind of their decision.
Okay, great. Can we ask our second question since we still have the floor? Is that okay? Sorry, everybody. I'm a talker. We want to talk a little bit about the kind of costs that will go to the markets of administrating this. So specifically, you talked about somebody spends $50. Typically, that means you're receiving 47 something as the vendor. So the way that it would work at a farmer's market, just to explain to Shayna and Sadie and Jenna, is that $50 would come out and be handed to the shopper. And then with 47 coming back to the market, 50 is still spent at the vendors. So that means that intermediary $3 per transaction is coming out of the market's budget because it's not coming out of the vendors, right? I'm presenting this well. Okay, great. Just making sure. She's my work wife for a reason. So we're a little concerned about that. And we're just wondering, you know, I saw Lonnie asked in the chat if there was any kind of fund for helping people pay for this administrative cost. We're with her on that question. We're just curious. Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
No, that's a very good question. And you know, to be fair, that's a really good point that honestly, I don't think we've really thought about as it pertains to our farmers markets, that it's really the vendors that, and I don't know what relationship and how the costs work with the vendors and what you guys get, if you get anything per transaction. I'm not sure what that looks like. But that's our typical pricing for our retailers. But I think you have, you know, made a very valid point with the vendors being involved in how that works. And it's not really that typical retailer income health plan relationship that we typically have. So let me bring that back to my leadership and see, you know, maybe there's a different way we should go about the processing fees as it pertains to total pay and our farmers markets implementations. And I will get back to Amanda on that. But thank you very much. I think that's a really solid point that I hadn't personally really thought of as it pertains to how this will work for our farmers markets.
Thanks, Shane. I'm glad to hear that there may be some ways to talk about this with income and total pay and how this is set up. And it's really great to hear that you will bring that back to them. I think there was somewhere in there too that people just wanted to clarify, is the total amount of fees that 2.5%, or is there like one coming from income and another fee coming from total pay, or like what, as it's structured right now, what is the total amount of fee?
So if you're with total pay, that fee will just be the 2%, and that's both income and total pay. That's only one fee. There's no separate fees. I think we got confused because the fees are different if you use our standalone device versus the total pay integration. I think the only reason that's a little extra with the total pay is due to the work and the integration that we did with them. That adds that little bit of percentage that's in that one. But like I said, I think in general, the processing fees and how that works for the farmers markets probably needs to be discussed a little bit further based off what Hillsdale just mentioned. So, you know, I'll bring that back and we'll figure out, you know, maybe that structure and have that discussion with total pay as well and see what we can do.
Great, thank you. Other questions about fees or other questions about anything else about these cards?
I'd like to ask a question if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
This one is for Jenna. I was curious, you said there's about 13,000 people that have the Care Oregon Advantage cards in the Portland metro area. Is that broken down any further, like by zip code? Maybe we could see, you know, what percentage of those 13,000 folks actually live in our neighborhood to determine if, you know, if this is going to be a worthwhile thing for us to do or not.
Yeah, so that's the 13,000 is the amount of members that we have, and every member gets a card. Whether or not they fully take advantage of it or not, that's other data. I don't have that information for you today, nor broken down by zip code, but that's something maybe I could work through Amanda for.
I think actually, Shayna and Sadie, I think you guys gave me a breakdown by zip code for It won't just,
I think you're right. Yeah.
yeah, then that did not, so that's everybody that has these types of cards, not just the Care
Oregon.
Oregon Care card. So I think
And
I can
that might be more helpful to
send
you
that out to
too.
you guys as well. That tells you
Yeah.
how many people have cards like this by zip code in Oregon.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, awesome. That would be really good information to have in the decision-making process. Thank you.
yeah, and Amanda, I can send you something more narrowed down related to Care Oregon specifically as well.
Okay. Great, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna have a big email after this with a bunch more documents and things for you guys to really dive into, it sounds like. Other questions? Feel free to just come on and ask. Ginger, do you want to ask your question about tokens? Or I can.
Yeah, oop, I'm here. Hi, guys. Yeah, so if we use $1 tokens for this so that there's some control over what people can buy, when we do our double up food buck reporting and they ask us how many SNAP tokens were sold, this card's tokens and the SNAP tokens would be combined. Do we have to separate that out?
Yeah, so this would mean having this card at your market would mean getting a whole new set of currency, because SNAP token, what SNAP can buy and what this card can buy are different. So you can't, so they need to be distinguishable from each other, because not all your vendors will be able to take these tokens. And then that way you would have separate totals of, you'd have your OTC card total and your SNAP total separate anyway. And I would have to talk with Mallory and Farmers Market Fund about, are they interested in knowing the OTC card total? But I think they are not, because you wouldn't be double up food bucks cannot be matched to the OTC card. So I think they are they would only be interested, most likely, they would only be interested in hearing your SNAP totals and would not need your OTC totals. But yes,
So we would have to have a whole new system.
Yes,
for handling.
we'll need to have different tokens, and this will be a new system to track. Yes.
Because I already have $1 tokens, $2 tokens for American Heart Association gives us a grant that we use, and $5 tokens and double up food bucks and produce match. I think my staff would kill me if I told them we were going to have yet another voucher system. I mean, I hate to throw water on, on this, but I just don't know if we've reached our limit and how, the Bank of Beaverton Farmers Market, how much we can handle.
Yeah, like none of this is an obligation.
Oh, I know. And I hate to
we're just like bringing you we wanted to bring you guys more information so that you could think about it, and you don't have to do it right now. And you don't have to do it ever if you don't want to, but
I know, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound grouchy about that.
Oh, no. This is what this space is for. I want you guys to talk about this stuff and really consider what it
The
means
impact
to the market, because it's a whole new $1 currency, and tracking that it's being spent at the right places is a big deal. It really is.
I think just to jump on what Ginger was saying, we were having an internal conversation of like, we love the idea of bringing more money to farmers, right? Like that's what we're all in it for. That's a great goal. But just for Shayna and Sadie to kind of know and kind of rock around their heads, the program that we do, the Double Up Food Bucks program, they do have an additional, they call it the growth grant, that's available for farmers markets to apply for to cover the costs of administrating. So literally the creation of this voucher, the documentation, the keeping track of, the communicating with vendors, like all of that is going to cost all of us money and staff time. So just as you guys are thinking about what's possible for farmers markets, I just want to let you guys know that sometimes offering this other supplemental bucket of income can make things easier.
Can I just jump in?
Yes.
This is Lonnie. Thank you, Ginger, for bringing it up. I think it's so important. I think that for folks listening in who aren't farmers market people, it's important to note that their setup is for retail people who make money off of sales. We don't make money off of sales at farmers markets. It's a completely different animal. So really, we offer this as a service. We're not going to make a profit off of it in any way. So it would make sense when you charge fees for folks who might make a profit, but we're not going to. So that's an important piece of this. And then the other thing I wanted to ask is, do the tokens need to be $1 tokens, or can they be another denomination? And is there such a thing as change for those tokens? That was it.
Yeah, that's a really good point about that markets are providing a service. I like how you put that, Lonnie. And then I think with the tokens, like I don't think that they have to be $1 tokens. I think, but similar to SNAP, I think you want a low number so that people have flexibility to use them, because I think you probably can't do cash back on these, which.
Yes, no cash back.
Okay, thank you. So we would just encourage the vendor to, like we do already with the dollars, to round up or whatever so that people get their money's worth.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Who's next? What else would you like to know about?
Hey, I have a quick question, y'all. This is Sage from the Adelante Farmers Markets in Forest Grove and Cornelius. We have a card that we use called Fresh Connect. It's a Visa debit card, and that's with the program About Fresh. They're based in Massachusetts, and those funds, it's like a VeggieRx program, and that goes directly, they spend it directly with the vendors because we're able to integrate that card into their point of sale system, like Square. I was just wondering if that is something that you all have explored at all, or if a market currency would need to be required, since it seems like so far it cannot be used with Square.
At this time, no, we do not. Square, we don't have any sort of integration with. We can't be accepted through Square. So it'd have to be either the Total Pay device or our standalone device for the OTC network cards.
Maybe this is a good time to do the polls, Madeline. We have a couple of quick polls to just kind of gauge where people are at with these cards and what they know or want to know more of. So let's give a second for Madeline to get those up.
I saw one more question. Did we want to answer that one before?
Oh, I missed it. Yeah.
Just popped up.
Yep, let's do the question. It looks like Eamon was asking, are there any farmers markets accepting OTC cards? I think so. I'd be curious to know in Oregon and then in the rest of the country.
Not that I am aware of in Oregon. On the East Coast, specifically in the Northeast, we do have a couple that are accepting our OTC cards at this time.
Yes.
This is a very new implementation with our farmers market. So I want to let you guys know I appreciate you for kind of walking us through as well what this looks like for you and what this means to you guys and what some of these hurdles might be, because I think this is really good information for me to go back to leadership and help you guys out, because we do want this to be available to our members. We think it's really such a great thing to help farmers and local vendors and things like that. So I do want to let you guys know I appreciate appreciate you guys walking us through all of this and talking through what this means and some of the pain points and hurdles you guys will have with currently how we're doing this.
Yes, you guys really are the leading edge on this, and it is great that you are bringing out all like the feedback and how we can, if we want to do this, how can we actually make it work? So thank you for saying stuff. I love it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and launch that first poll.
Okay.
So it should be up on your screens now.
Are people seeing it? I'm not seeing it on mine. I don't know.
Yes. So
Okay.
the question is, how well do you understand OTC cards at this point? It looks like most people are at the level of I mostly understand, I just need some time to take it in. A few folks are at I totally get it and could advise another market manager, and no one is lost, which is good.
It's great to hear.
And it looks like just about we got good participation on that one. Should I launch the second one?
Yeah.
Great. So we have another one. And this one is around implementation. So how likely are you to implement OTC cards at your market? Options are I'm ready, want to start ASAP, not this year, maybe next year. My market probably won't do this, or I don't know. Looks like we've got several folks saying not this year, but maybe next year, a few saying my market probably won't do this, and a few folks saying I don't know yet. So let's see, I think I can share the results with y'all on that one. Do you see that?
I can't see it, but
Oh,
maybe
bummer.
other people are seeing it. Yeah, looks like other people are seeing it.
Okay. All right. Great.
So at this point in the workshop, we still have a half an hour of time. It's possible to now move into just markets talking to each other about this. I figure you guys might want, some time to see what you all are thinking about it and sharing how you might do this or not do this. Jenna, Sadie, and Shayna can stay on to answer questions, or if you guys feel like you're just ready to talk to each other, they can pop off. Why don't you put in the chat if you would like for them to stay on because you still have things you want to ask them about, you can put panel, and if you kind of just want to talk to each other now, you can put peer. And then that will help us know. Did that make sense? Okay, I'm seeing in the chat at least a couple votes for peer. So why don't I thank you, Sadie, Shayna, and Jenna. That was really helpful. And if there are more follow-up questions, I can always email you with them and pass them on. And yeah, so thanks so much for being here and your time. And I'll let you guys go. And everybody else who wants to stay for a little bit longer can stay and chat about it too.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Love very much. Nice to meet you virtually.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, friends.
Hi, everybody. I think you guys all know each other really well. I'm going to take a step back from like facilitating and just let you guys chat with each other.
Hey crew, Sage, I'm curious about your card that can be used on the Square reader and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? If you're still around.
Yes, definitely. I'm just driving to the office, so I was able to pull over to talk. But it's been great to listen to. So with this card, this is in partnership with the company called About Fresh. They're based out of Massachusetts, and we're one of the first farmers markets and programs in Oregon that they've partnered with. And so this is to have our produce prescription participants, like a veggie prescription program, like Veggie RX, be able to shop at our market. So historically, we had like paper vouchers that were in $2 denominations, no change given. And this definitely limited the amount that they could spend, or just kind of have that choice and choosing something that was maybe $1.50. So the card has been pretty successful, definitely a learning curve, but it's super nice that we don't have to actually do anything at the information booth except support if there's any issues. The organization About Fresh, they just hop on a 5-minute call with the vendors and do a test run on whatever their point of sale system is, whether that's Square or something with their bank. They can accept it on anything like that, which is really cool. So
And
again, this is for like certain benefits, but yeah, what's your question?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, for a community member to enroll in About Fresh, what demographics do they have to meet?
Yeah, so with this program, it's from one of our programs at Adelante Mujeres. It's folks that are at the Virginia Garcia Wellness Center in Cornelius who have diet-related illnesses. So either diabetes or things like that. And their doctor recommends this program to them. And so we have about 39 participants. So it's very selective based on doctors' recommendations.
So it's a separate program that they are eligible for that provides the benefits, and then it's the company in Massachusetts that provides the card for them to access those benefits. Am I understanding that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Sage.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to send more info about that too. So y'all can see what that process is like. And yeah, Eamon, that's the correct company.
Sage, I saw your question in the chat too about wanting to see how many more people in the country have the card and how to inform people that they can shop at the farmers market. Looks like I do have that that guide by zip codes, so you'll be getting that later. And then sounds like the way to let people know they can shop at the farmers market is being able to get into some of the guides that like Care Oregon, except, Care Oregon was super easy to contact and find and talk to them. And they were really excited to talk to us. When I tried to find, like, as Incom pointed out, it's not just Care Oregon that offers this. I had a really hard time getting wherever these other cards are being offered to talk to me and respond to an email. So I don't know how you would get your information into their advertising, but I know that Care Oregon was like really willing to hear from you and get lists of farmers markets that would be taking this card, but I don't know about the rest of them.
As someone who used to have Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield, nobody ever told me that was a thing. So it wasn't very well communicated.
I want to pop in. This is Lonnie. I'm a little discouraged that this whole system sort of put itself together and thought it was doing a good thing and then didn't at all check in with the people that it would matter to before this. Because we, of course, all want more hunger reduction programs at our market. We all want them. And we want all of our vendors to get the benefits. Of course we do. It's just that I think there's a general ongoing misunderstanding in the community in general. And that's what we're seeing here, is that the grocery store is the same thing as a farmer's market. And it really is vastly different. And until we can sort of like tell our story effectively about how very different a farmer's market is, things like this are going to keep coming up where people are just like, oh, same. I can buy blueberries here. I can buy blueberries there. Like just the difference in what farmers make when something's bought at a farmer's market is so giant. And then, you know, programs like this that are for us are services, but for other people are money making, you know, ways of making money. So, so it's really, it's disappointing that they launched this and started sending us a bunch of emails for 6 months before anybody ever mentioned to us or gave us a chance to mention to them that we are actually a service that doesn't have a bunch of money in the bank, that our goal is not to have a bunch of money in the bank. Like that's not what we do. Farmers markets aren't a retail kind of thing. At least farmers market managements aren't a retail program. So that's all. That's my rant and I'm done.
No, I welcome you to keep ranting on this, Lonnie. It's yeah, it's bizarre to me that they thought we'd all just be able to jump on this and do it right away.
You know what I'm just realizing? I should turn the recording off, yes?
Why don't we see at the end if people want, we can always keep it off, but you know, the audience who's going to be watching this recording is going to be other market managers and they may appreciate hearing what you guys are saying, but we can definitely not include this part if you guys want us to.
For my part, I don't mind that anybody, including the people who are on with us, hear that.
Wonderful.
See, I'm just reading what's in the chat. So Ginger saying, I worry about my vendor's capacity to keep track of all the various currencies coming through the market, especially in those booths where there's a rotating roster of workers. And also training staff is complicated and confusing. I try to explain to them that it is as if we are a bank that handles the currency from multiple countries. It takes a while for them to understand. And Michaelin's saying, I agree, it would be much simpler to implement if the restrictions matched either SNAP or double up food bucks, but having it be yet another set of restrictions is just really challenging. Yeah, I'm glad we are talking about it. I want to get that catalog of what is allowable to you guys, because I think even if they somehow like get rid of the fee that they're doing this with, the catalog is so, this is like, I mean, SNAP has its restrictions that seem complicated, but this is like a cookie is allowed, but like a scone is okay. And like, that's the part that I'm just like, I don't know how you all are going to track that and that it's being used at the right vendors and not other ones. And I asked them like, could the markets just do something where like they can be more like double up food bucks? Can they just make it simple and say it can only be used for like farms, fruit and produce and meats and things like that, and not get into the other products that are like, some are okay, some are not okay. And they said, no, that's not really allowed. Yeah. Oh, I don't know what you all think about that too, or if I'm just imagining that will be a problem.
I think it's always the simpler you can make anything, obviously, the better, especially in an environment where there's so many people coming and going, whether it's the customers themselves or all the various people working in the market. Like I have a grant from the American Heart Association, and I told them the only way I would implement that is if their requirements or guidelines were exactly the same as SNAP. So, you know, they kind of wanted more just fruits and vegetables, but I said, no, I'm not going to have another token floating around that has a different set of requirements. I mean, we have to have what we call token talks with vendors all the time who took tokens that they weren't supposed to. And then on top of all this, remember there's Farm Direct Nutrition coupons, which you throw in the mix, which thankfully we don't have to really deal with anymore. But, you know, it's kind of become a international banking system at the farmers market. And it just, the whole thing needs to be simpler.
Mm-hmm. In the chat, Hillsdale is saying, theoretically, we could pass along the fee cost to our vendors when they redeem the tokens vouchers, but none of our vendors would want to participate if we did that. I think it's a really good point. Other things you guys want to talk about? Or I did see that you wanted to, somebody had requested like keeping an email discussion of this going. I did take down everyone who's here. I could start a thread so that all of your emails are together in one thread if you want me to do that later, so that you can keep talking about this.
Well, I think if there's any new information, I think that would be an easy way to get that all out to us. And then of course our discussions are private, you know, and I really appreciate, Amanda, that you're willing to be the go-between on this and to forward any questions we have or concerns. Yeah, I think Lonnie did a good job of sort of telling them, hey guys, you know, we're not making any money off of this. And, you know, the whole idea of passing the costs on to vendors, back when the token systems first started, we all tried to do this and it was a nightmare. And we all stopped doing it and just incorporated the cost of doing of those fees into space fees. So, you know, you just can't keep doing that indefinitely because it just drives space fees up for everyone. And, you know, a lot of people who are going to pay space fees are going to qualify, are going to have products that qualify for these programs. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind having a separate thread as new information comes out. Maybe you know, they'll go back to the parent companies and go, hey, this is the feedback we're getting from the markets. Can we do something about that? And there'll be new news out there.
Sounds good. Yeah, I see you're all still hanging on. So I don't know if people have like things they're kind of like holding on to that they're not jumping out to say, but you know, you're welcome. We have until
I'm going to say one more thing and then I'm going to go. I just want to put out a little bit of gratitude that we were all so confused about this and couldn't find any information. And so thanks to Amanda and whoever else helped at OSMA for digging for us and for advocating for us and for getting us the professional people who know the real answers. It's one of those things that you know, like Ginger, I've been in markets a long time, maybe not quite as much as Ginger, but for sure, OFMA is really killing it with being incredibly helpful, in my opinion, since the start of the pandemic. So thank you so much for being such a useful resource and so competent. I appreciate you.
Oh, thanks, Lonnie. I think we all love hearing that, especially on a Friday. Nice way to end the week. And I can't help it. I know all of you. I've done this job before. I want to do a good job. I want you guys to, I want to make things easier for you. So I like, I don't know, gives meaning to my life to do this kind of stuff for you guys. So thank you. Okay, looks like we're all ready to get on with our day. So thank you. On that, I'll just let it go. And thanks everyone. We'll be sending, we will follow up with all those packets of materials that we said, and we'll have this recording up later for people who want to review it. So thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Have good markets this weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.